Most Claude Code tutorials show you how to build. Almost none show you the messy part before the build. Turning a rambling 30-minute client call into a buildable spec by lunch. If you're a solo operator who keeps losing a full day rewriting notes, scoping features, and second-guessing the proposal, this is the gap. I'll walk you through the exact 60-minute intake pipeline I run before I write a single line of code for any paying client. Most teachers skip this because they've never shipped a paid project. I'm Lazar. I run this intake daily on real client work. Let's start where every solo build actually breaks, the call notes. Here's the situation almost every solo operator I talk to is stuck in. A prospect books a call. You spend 30 minutes on Zoom. They give you a wish list, 3 half-formed integrations, a deadline, and a budget that doesn't match the scope. You hang up, stare at your notes, and lose the entire afternoon trying to turn that mess into something a client will actually sign. By the time you send a proposal 2 days later, the lead has cooled, or worse, they signed with someone faster. That's the bottleneck, not the building, the intake. Most Claude Code tutorials online teach you prompts, agents, and folder structures, which is great, but they assume you already have a clean spec. Real client work doesn't start with a clean spec. It starts with a transcript full of contradictions. So the existing advice fails for one reason. It skips the only step that decides whether you get paid this week or next month. Let me show you the pipeline I run. It takes 60 minutes from end of call to proposal inbox, and it uses Claude Code as the spine. Step 1. Minutes 0 to 15. The second the call ends, I export the transcript. If the client doesn't allow recording, I dump my notes into a plain markdown file. Then inside Claude Code, I run a slash command I built called /intake. It takes the raw transcript and extracts 4 things: stated goals, hard constraints, required integrations, and success criteria. Notice what's missing. I don't ask Claude to design anything yet. I'm only asking it to separate signal from noise. The output is usually a 1-page structured brief. I read it once, mark anything that contradicts what I heard on the call, and that becomes my first pushback list. Step 2, minutes 15 to 30. Now I ask Claude to generate a PROJECT.md file. This is the contract between me and the codebase. It has 5 sections: scope, explicitly out of scope, tech choices with 1-line justifications, known risks, and the milestone list. The out-of-scope section is the most important one most beginners skip. If you don't write down what you're not building, the client will assume you are. Claude drafts this in about 90 seconds. I review it and push back on 2 or 3 assumptions, usually around authentication, data ownership, or third-party API limits. This is the part where being a senior engineer matters. Claude will happily commit to integrations that have rate limits or pricing that kills the project economics. You have to catch that before it becomes a promise. Step 3, minutes 30 to 45. Claude scaffolds the folder structure based on the PROJECT.md. README, source folders, a docs folder with the intake brief and the project spec already inside, a .env example with every key the integrations will need, and a basic CI file if the project needs one. Then I ask Claude to draft a 5-bullet proposal email. Not a long sales pitch. 5 bullets. What I'll build, what I won't. The timeline in weeks, the price, and the next step. The proposal references the PROJECT.md by name. That single detail changes the conversation. The client isn't reading a vague pitch. They're reading a document that already exists. Step 4. Minutes 45 to 60. I record a 2-minute Loom walking through the empty repo. I show the folder structure, open the PROJECT.md, and explain what the first milestone looks like. Then I send the email with the Loom link and the proposal bullets. That's the pipeline. From call end to client inbox in 60 minutes. Here's why this works on the close. Most freelancers send proposals that describe vapor. You're sending a proposal that points at a real folder structure with their project name on it. The client feels like the work has already started, because it has. The first time I ran this end-to-end on a paying engagement, I had a signed contract by 6 p.m. the same day, and the first working commit pushed before I went to bed. 4 Claude Code sessions later, the MVP was demo ready. The intake wasn't the bottleneck anymore. The intake became the sales tool. A few things I learned the hard way. Don't let Claude pick the tech stack alone. It will default to whatever is most common, not what fits the client's existing infrastructure. Always force it to justify choices against the constraints in the brief. Don't skip the outer scope section, ever. And keep the /intake/command version id. Mine has been through about 11 revisions because every client teaches you one new edge case the previous template missed. The reason this matters isn't speed for speed's sake. It's that as a solo operator, your real product isn't the code. It's the system that turns messy human conversations into shipped software without you burning out. Claude Code, used this way, isn't a coding tool. It's an intake engineer that works for free. If you want the same intake pipeline built into your own client workflow, the /command, the PROJECT.md template, the proposal structure, you can see real examples of what we ship for clients at BizflowAI.io. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next breakdown lands in your feed. And if you have a workflow you want automated end-to-end, book a free 30-minute discovery call at BizflowAI.io. We'll map your intake to delivery system in that one call.